Hello everyone. Today we are going to learn about the tax in Dynamics 365 Finance. So this consists of the setup which is needed to do the posting, and once the posting is done we will also see the reporting. So let us begin with the basic setup. So when I say that I have to create the posting group, I have to create the authorities, settlement period, sales tax code, the sales tax group and the item sales tax group. Very important that you have, if needed, what you can do that you can also create the this kind of configuration maybe manually one by one, or else if needed you can go with the data management, and then you will be able to import the required entity there. Let us just start creating the ledger posting group and manually and understand what it is and how to work with this. Now we all know that posting group is something where we move the balance from the subledger account to the main account, right? Which means that which automatically says that we must be having some main account link there, right? So to link the main account, it is needed that you should be having those account created in the main account. If it is not there, the first step is that you are supposed to create those main account and make sure that posting type is actually the sales tax or the tax, or when you are using the UK the term will be VAT, right? So the posting type will be a VAT or that sales tax, right? So it again depends on the law, the policy, like no which account we will be using it, which account we shall not be using it. So when you log into the ledger posting group, something very important that some of you might be seeing all these accounts like a sales tax payable, receivable, settlement account, all these account. However, some of you will be seeing very few main accounts. Let me take you to the screen and explain you. We are in the ledger posting group. I see that payable account is there, use tax payable account, settlement accounts are there, but I don't see sales tax receivable account. Okay, the reason because that we have some of the settings, like when we are in the general ledger setup, you can see that I have opened one more screen, and in the parameter when I'm actually in the sales tax, and where I have actually enabled this, right? Apply sales tax taxation rule. So which says that when it is yes, the sales taxation rules are applied. So when it is set to no, the VAT taxation rules are applied. So that is how the systems are set up. So when I'm actually here in this ledger posting group, I can see that it is applied, and due to that I'm not able to see the sales tax receivable account. So if you want, you can just start creating the account. So I can create maybe STD2 or standard, right? And see, very important that we should know which account to be used, right? So I will explain you in detail which account it is. Let me just first use the account. And now this is going to be a payable account, which means it is a liability account. This is also a payable account, which is also going to be a liability account, right? So the name itself defines, right? Settlement account is something where the settlement is done, right? And once settlement is done, this account will be getting impacted, right? So I am going to use this account at the moment, right? And I want to save it. So once I have saved, you can see that one of the ledger posting group has been created, right? But you should be knowing the difference between these accounts. For that, you can have a look into this detailed information. Here we have. Now, when we have the sales tax payable account, it is actually a current liability account, which means that, like, you have collected the tax from the customer, right? And that you have to pay to the government, right? So on behalf of the government you have taken the tax. Example, when you go and purchase, or maybe a diamond or a gold set, what you do that you pay a huge amount of tax there, right? So when you are paying it, basically they are not collecting and they are not keeping it for themselves, they are supposed to pay back to the government. So it is a payable account, right? So when we talk about receivable account, that will be actually a current asset account, and which is actually a recoverable input tax paid. So then we have a use tax payable account. So whenever we have a payable account, it actually a current liability account. So use tax payable is another scenario which is actually basically used, like some of the, like in out of state like vendor when you have, and then the purchaser or the vendor will say that no, I am not bothered about the tax area. I mean, it is you can take it further from there. So you are liable to make a payment, right? So in that case, you are not going to link this to the vendor, right? But you have to do a self assessment. So this is also called a self access tax account. So where the purchaser, like when the vendor is not in charge, but you are supposed to make a payment to the vendor, right? So you are going to take care, and that account will be a use tax payable account, right? And then you have use tax expense account. This could be either a type of an expense account or an asset account, again depends on the rules, right? So this is actually an expense when a tax is due on any kind of a payment and not on the vendor invoice. So it can be a part of an asset account as well, so you are supposed to capitalize this as an asset account. And then we have a settlement account. So in the settlement account, basically we use a temporary account. So temporary account, or maybe it could be like a kind of a liability account or the bank account. So you might be aware that no, when we are doing the posting, once the sales tax when the posting, like we do before the posting, we also do a settlement, right? So when you're doing a settlement, this particular account is being used there. So we will proceed further on to this. Suppose if I am done with the ledger posting group creation, my second area will be a sales tax authority. So sales tax authority is something, when we say that, like tax authority, like here when we come here, you can see you have an authority. Authority means what? So when I talk about an authority, authority is something, you have somebody who is authorized, like no, suppose if I have taken a tax from the customer, whom I'm supposed to make a payment or whom I'm supposed to report it, right? So when I say in a simple term, basically a sales tax authority is something, whatever tax has been collected that needs to be reported and paid, right? So whom are you doing it? You are doing it to the tax authority, right? You can pay a sales tax to authority directly or through a vendor account. So for that, what we do that, here in this scenario, I am creating, like authority, but I am also going through a vendor account. So when I'm going to create a sales tax authority, you have some of the report layout, you have the rounding precision, all that you can define it in the system. So it's very simple. You can just start creating from here an authority, and you can see, like and you can provide a vendor account. And I will go with the, and I can say that you can see the system has automatically pick the report layout. If needed, I can go and I can pick the report layout needed, like depends again on which legal entity are you working. So that particular, suppose if you are working for Netherlands, that particular report layout, or if you are working for the UK, so that report layout you are going to pick it. And this is auto picked, so normal rounding form and the precision, all this has been defined in the sales tax authority, and you can save the data. Okay, this already exists. I will give test one and I'll save it. So I can see that a sales tax authority has been created in the system. So when we have to create the settlement period, where we define the frequency, like how frequently the finance will report to the tax authority. Is it going to be a quarterly report or the monthly report? So this is basically is very useful, because whenever you do a settlement, also when you pick the period defined, the system will bring the transaction that has been posted during that particular period. So we are supposed to create it now in this system. Let us go here and create settlement period. So when I am there in the settlement period, I want to create the settlement period, but remember one thing, we also link the authority that has been created with the settlement period, right? So I'll just start creating one of the settlement period, and then I will say that okay, and I give the description, And here comes an authority. So if we have created any of the defined authority, I can just pick it there, and I can just go with this particular authority. That is how we are linking the authority with the settlement period. Now, what you are saying that you can, if needed, you can provide the terms of payment as well. Now, here we have an interval unit. So, suppose in this scenario, when I say that we are reporting on a quarterly basis, and we know that 3 months will be the duration for each quarter. So, I design in such a way that I say that no, this will be a quarterly report, right? So, I can just define like this. And then here comes a period interval. So, I can start creating the first one. When I say that I will create, like, from the Jan month, let me go ahead and start creating, like, Jan to December period. So I will go with like a Jan 2025 up to, I will create like a March. So I just design it. Let me just take it. Now what you can see that I have given a 3 months of interval here, and now here comes a next interval. So the moment you click on the new period interval, the system will give you the values from date and to date depending on the interval that which you have defined it. I'll click on new interval, and what you can see that I'm getting from April to June, and then again likewise I can see that okay, I have here four periods are defined here, so I can just save the data. So these are my quarterly settlement period which I am going to use it, because for me I say that no, I report to the tax authority on a quarterly basis. This is one of the example how you create settlement period. Next we are going to see how to create the sales tax code and the sales tax group and item sales tax group. So it is very important again. So for this configuration, remember whenever we create the sales tax code, these are linked to a settlement period that which we have created, and also to a ledger posting group. So let us go ahead and start creating the tax code. And I'll click on the sales tax code. So these three is the one now we are going to create. I'll begin with the tax code, because now that is how it is dependent. So what we can see that when I want to create any tax code, I'm just start creating a new tax code, and I say that this is going to be a standard tax code. So I can give the like a name as well, and then here what you can see a percentage is 0. You let you know how to bring the value over here. And as I told you that we linked settlement period, right, and the ledger posting group, which is here mentioned. So now the period that whatever you have created it, like you can bring that period, or else you can pick any of the period from the defined one. So I can say I'm going to create a quarterly period maybe here, and then I have the posting group which I have to bring it here. So I can go with the posting group that which we have created, or you can any of the posting group that which is required here, you can link it. So now what I'm doing that I'm going to create a tax code where I'll provide an value which could be maybe in the terms of percentage or an amount that I am linking with the settlement period that I have created it already, and the posting group which I have created where I have main accounts linked for the posting. So this is very important, right? So once these basic things are done, also you can see here we have some calculation parameters. These all are very important. How do you want a tax calculation should happen? So that is where you define it. I wanted the whole amount, or I wanted the net amount on invoice balance. This is where you define the parameters for the tax calculation. You have many more setups available here, like a report setup and sales information that can be provided here. Now I can see that US report layout is something which is linked here. Now these are fine, but I want to bring suppose I say that this particular standard tax code is of 10% or 11%. How to bring the value? So here it comes a sales tax code values. Just click on this and you can see here that You can provide the date if needed from when do you want, or else what you can do that you can ignore this particular field and I can give the value like I want the tax, like I can say maybe 5. I can provide value here and I can save the data. So what happens just by saving the value over here, just go back and see, you can see the percentage is appearing here. So now this particular standard tax code is actually having a 5% of the tax. Again, that is linked to the period and the posting group as well. So that is how you create the sales tax code. Now coming to the sales tax group. Now when I'm here, my next is like a sales tax group, which is very important. Like this group, when you create it, right, when you're going to create this particular group, this will be attached the customer and the vendor. So let us go and start creating it. So when I am there with the sales tax group, I can see here is that I have so many tax group is actually defined here. So what happens in basically in some of the business, like you create a group like domestic customer or the domestic supplier and rest of world customer, rest of world supplier. Likewise, how you have grouped your customer or the supplier or the vendor, on that basis you can create the sales tax group. So now this is a state wise label, but basically I say that I want to create like my grouping of the supplier or the customer is done like a domestic or maybe a rest of world supplier. So I can create in that way. So I'll click on new and I'll say that okay, this is for like maybe a domestic customer. So you can give a name or you can give the description likewise. Okay, and then you can provide like information in the general first step like a tax group description you can provide, and then all this information can be given. Now something important here is that call a setup, right? This particular sales tax group, when you are going to use it to the customer, right? So what is the tax percentage or the tax code that which you want to link it? So just now we have created the tax code, right? What we can do that we can bring that particular standard tax code here, and you can see that now there is a 5% standard tax is applicable on this particular domestic customer tax group. Now this tax group is something which will be linked to the customer or the supplier. So whenever we do a transaction and when we are using that customer or the supplier which is having this particular tax group, the system will take the 5% of tax on that. That is how you create a sales tax group. Likewise, you can do one thing, go there and come to accounts receivable, go to the all customers. You see the particular Conso Europe. I'll click on this and I can provide the details here. So what you can see here, the sales tax group is exempt. Now I'm going to change it and domestic customer. So what you can see that this is how I'm able to bring the particular domestic customer. Now the 5% will be charged for this customer. So that is how you create the sales tax group and you assign to the customer, right? Or this is also assigned the similar way. You can create one for the vendor as well and you can assign to the vendor master data. So now next what we have is item sales tax group. So item sales tax group are like those tax code are basically it is attached to the product, like maybe any release product. So when I come here and now when I go to the item sales tax group and suppose I have this particular item sales tax group, if I want I can create one of that. So for that again I'll click on the new and I say domestic, maybe standard, and I can give like the description. Okay, and now here comes the setup where I'll bring the particular tax code that which we have created it standard, and you can see the percentage is applied here. Now I'll click on the save. So now this is the one which will be attached to the released product. Now for that, what you can do, that you can go to product management, information management, and you can go to the released product, and Surface Pro. I'll just go to the first item number, and I'll do one thing. I'll go to the cell, and then I here you can see item sales tax group, and I'll bring that value here, which is domestic standard. So this is how you are able to save the data to the product. So you can just save it now. So what we have learned is that we have created a tax code which is a standard, the domestic, right? And in the sales tax group, when we have created it, we have attached to the customer, and item sales tax group also been created, and this is also attached to the product, release product. So now you are ready to do the posting. Let us learn about the posting, and we'll go to the screen and then see how to do the posting. We will create a new journal, and then we can give like a tax testing purpose, and I create a line. So I'll go with the customer where we have a line, the tax group domestic customer, which is a counter, so Europe. So I will pick that account, or I can just select it from here. I give the value, and then I can provide any of the ledger offset account. I'll just type the account, maybe an expense account. I'll just provide the detail here, and the moment you pick an account of the customer, what you can see that the sales tax group is domestic customer, which has picked because you have assigned here in a master data of the customer. So you can just also provide item sales tax group and click on the sales tax, and you see the percentage which we have created, the 5% is appearing on this particular journal line. So I can just save the data and go back. I want to show you another example where I'll create a new journal line, and in spite of customer, I'll go with the ledger account, and I will provide another details, maybe. Yeah, I can go with the detail like an expense account debit. Yeah, and I can just provide maybe an offset account. Maybe I can give like a bank account, and then I'll provide an operating account. So the moment you are changing here an account, what you can see that you have given a ledger account, and offset account is a bank account, and there is a chance that you can, if you want, you can change the sales tax group. So in this example, I'm going to change the sales tax item sales tax group as like an audio video, and in this also I would like to go with the another group, sales tax group, which will be like maybe a California CA. So in this example, how do you know a system will pick what percentage of the tax, right? So this is very important for us to understand. For that, what you can do that, so here you have to come here and check in the setup. So when you come to the tax, In the tax group, my sales tax group basically is actually in this particular system is CA. So I will go with the CA, which is California. So in the California sales tax group, there are three codes, which is ABCST, HRCST, and HPCST. Okay. And when I come to this particular sales tax group CA, which I've seen now in item sales tax group. So let us go to the item sales tax group, go to tax, and then item sales tax group. So in the item sales tax group, where you have picked like ABVI, so what you can see that under ABVI, we have so many sales tax code, right? So now remember one thing. When you have a journal where you have the ledger account, everything is selected over here. But item sales tax group, what you have picked is ABVI. Within the ABVI, but you have so many sales tax code which is appearing like a 7%, 1%, 2.9, all this, right? Whereas when you are picking a CA, in the CA, again you have three sales tax code, which is again 7.25%, 7.25%, 7.25% SPST, HRST. How does the system know that which is the right tax percent or what is the right tax code, right? So for that, there will be only one tax code which is a common between that. So when you see here AB-CAST, which is 7.25, is here in the sales tax group and also in the item sales tax group. However, rest all are not in this particular sales tax group. So because of that, what happened whenever we create the general voucher, whatever is the common sales tax, right? Whatever is a common sales tax code, whatever is a common sales tax code, system will give me the rate depending on that. So come to the sales tax and verify it. So what you can see that 7.25% and sales tax code is AB-CAST. So you can see here, this is the common tax code which is appearing here. So due to that, once I'll just go here and once I post it, so you can see the voucher as well. The voucher is appearing like this, which expense account and what is the amount, the lesser tax, all the details you will get it. You can click on the posted sales tax amount. In the posted sales tax, again, you have to be very careful with something called a tax direction. How does a system know that this is my receivable? The direction, how a system defines. For that, again, we have a rule, right? So the rule, you have to be very careful with this. So we have a sales tax receivable account. Now for the rule, you can just have a look into this. Sorry. When an account type is a ledger, remember when an account type is a ledger and when you have journal line, and if the journal amount is a debit, right? So in that case, you have seen the journal amount was a debit, right? The sales tax direction is a receivable. But if the journal amount is a negative, the direction will be a payable. So in our example, what we can see here is that we have a receivable because the amount is a debit or a plus sign. So the direction of the sales tax is also very important, which will come when you do a reporting as well. So that is how you have done the posting of the transaction. Once the posting is done, we will look into the reporting. So for the reporting, we will just go back to the again screen and we will go to the tax. So we have multiple reports available at the moment, like we can go with the posted sales tax, and I will provide maybe today's date because we have done the transaction today. I'll click on OK, and we can see that the transaction is appearing. So that is how we have learned end to end from the configuration and posting of the journal and then doing the reporting. So remember, tax reporting is not so easy because once the reporting is done, you also have to declare it, like the sales tax. So this is again where you do a settlement and you post it, and then this is how a VAT declaration is done. For that, we will be having a separate training on that, because this is very much like when we do a declaration is actually a country specific. So we can pick one or two example and we can look into that reporting as well. So now after that, we will go back to the PPT and see what we have missed it. If something, let's just have a look into that. Oh, it's very good to see that end-to-end process map. Just try and link each and everything whatever we have learned so far. So when we start that tax module, what we have done, that first thing that you have to check, do we have the main account created for the tax purpose? You say no, then create the main account with the posting type for tax. And then if it is created, it is fine, you can start creating the posting profile where you use all the account, like for a receivable account, sales tax payable account, all those account will be picked up here. Once this is done, the second step is that you create a tax authority. So this is someone where you report and you pay the tax to the authority. If needed, you can assign a vendor, or else you can go directly with the tax authority itself. Now, once this is done, you create a settlement period where you basically assign the tax authority to the settlement period. You define the period interval. It could be maybe a quarterly or a monthly or a yearly interval that which you define for the reporting and the payment of the tax. Then comes your tax code creation, where you link the posting profile, whatever you created over here, and you also define the calculation base, like it could be on the invoice line or the gross. So all the base has been defined here. You also provide the tax percentage, which we have seen in an example. So this is very important. Once the tax code is created, this tax code is actually used in the sales tax group and also in the item sales tax group. So once the sales tax group is created, you assign this to the master data, that is like a supplier or the customer. And for this, we assign it to the release product, for an example. So remember, a tax code for any transaction whenever you do the posting is basically defined based on the sales tax group that which you have picked in the transaction and the item sales tax group. So whatever is the common code in these two, that defines the tax amount or the tax calculation for your transaction. Once the posting is happened, what you do that, no once the posting is happened, you review the tax amount whatever posting has happened in the posted tax, right? Once everything is fine, you go with the settlement process. So once settlement is done, you can never no redo the transaction. So settlement is done, and then you do also a VAT declaration. So for an like this is, as I told you, it is a very country specific. So if you're doing a tax declaration for the UK country, you have a MTD. For that, we will have an upcoming training on that. Likewise, for every entity, we'll have a different format for the tax declaration. So by this, you have an end-to-end process of the taxation. Thank you so much.